All right, for this tutorial, we're going to look at divided surface and specifically how to get kind of greater control with how that surface is being divided. I think this helps a lot when you're trying to line up structure and panels and things like that. And so what we have in the screen right now are kind of two what would be considered roof forms, meaning covering something, they're identical, and then two what would be more, let's say, wall type surfaces. And then also have another just flat surface over here because a lot of people have just kind of sloped ramps and things. Now, what we'll look at is if we were to just grab, let's say, this and divide surface, we would get the breakdown, and of course we can change it as we like, simplify it. I'm going to grab the same one and divide it down the same way, 8 by 8. And this is what we would probably most often do. And then sometimes we're struggling with, well, the things are curved. What if we want some of them straight? How can we control these things differently? So I wanted to show you on this other one is I'm going to divide these the same way, but then I'm also going to do something else. Let's actually even, what I'm going to show you is that we can use, especially if you're in, although I'm testing this in the conceptual mass world right now, if you were in project world, so I went to plan view, and here we're looking here, I drew a whole bunch of reference planes. This could be done by pulling one of these out of the control, or if you have my key-ins, RE, and drawing them. I also can draw and drag them. I snap them together and make them equal, just practicing different ways. This could be the grid lines that you have for your structure. Now this becomes really interesting. So I'm going to grab this one right here. And you notice that we had played at one point with turning the nodes on and off, right? That was one control that's up here. But I also want to see that there's this UV control. So I can actually just turn off one of the directions. So only having one, or having none, or having that direction. So I'm going to have the U on and turn off the V. So you can see it just eliminated one whole thing here. I'm going to move that to 8 like we did on the other one. But now I can also say I want to host with intersections. I come and just grab all of, those are touching it, say OK. And now all of a sudden I get the grids following in one direction, applying to the other. This works in both the vertical and horizontal. So in the same way, I can grab this one. I can say turn off. No, I want those, not those. I'm going to make them 8 also. And in elevation, I can actually draw a whole bunch. Let's see, east. So I can also say grab the intersection. I want all of those. Okay, and it's subdivided it. This gets really helpful when you want something to align to, let's say, you have structural beams cutting in, let's say, north-south, but east-west. You want the panels to adapt. It can be really helpful to get some things to align. So this does actually play out even a different way. Where we can actually take like a simple surface and make our own complex pattern on it. So on this plane, and actually I want to say a lot of people are trying to do simple surfaces. I'm going to draw this one really quickly again, start off on the plane. I always draw points in first. Even though these aren't necessarily an adaptive component, I'm still drawing the points first, then putting reference lines between the points, going in the same direction, and then making the surface. Let me do this. The reason why I make the points first is so that I can easily grab them to adjust stuff, right? Because they're hosting the line, which is then hosting the plane. If I have that surface, we get what we want. I can still always come back in and easily move and adapt and change things, right? Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go back to the plan view really quick. We can see this, right? In the same way, I'm going to do RE and draw different lines that I want to intersect with this. So again, I can touch this, turn off. No, I want that grid. Again, I'm going to make it like 8 to simplify, but then I want to intersect with those. And now I get the grid being exactly what I want. I can still come back in, even put nodes in, control how I like. So really useful way. Granted, sometimes we want it to be perfectly adapting, like when we were doing space frame trusses and stuff like that. You want the surface to control the organization. With this one and this one over here, we're allowing a grid outside of the surface. And you could do it with both directions, actually. I mean, let's say if we go back into plan view, I could come in and say RE. I'm just going to drag a whole bunch of, I'm not caring about their spacing right now because I'm actually going to go distance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal. Now they're all the same. And I can say I want this to be, I want to turn off the other direction. And I'm going to delete all intersections. So again, I'm grabbing the first set of intersections and the second set of intersections. Oh, I got hit control, I think. Okay. And all of a sudden I'm getting the grid shell over it, but actually projected grid shell. Really useful if you're wanting certain walls or beams to line up on things. Still getting the surface I want, I can still come back in and grab one of my points that was controlling and adjust everything. What's actually really useful too, watch this, I can actually grab, let's say, this plane and move it. Yeah, let's go on the plane. I can still come in and grab something and adjust it, and it will adjust everything for it. This is actually, let's say, I want to rotate that line a little bit. It's adjusting all those points. So if there are panels on here, you know, you could still be adjusting everything the way